Hello? Stan, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey guys, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Hello?
Hey Janice.
Hi, Pam.
Hey,
Yay.
we can
Was
hear you.
oh good. Yay. Okay. Oh,
Is
there's
this that little blurb that somebody was wanting? I put it in there. Did it?
Huh?
Yeah, it's on there, right? Under 13. Yeah, that's at least our version of what they were asking for. Okay.
Good. You? You're talking to Pam?
like people there, 5 people.
Okay, good.
So I guess just tell me what, I mean, I guess you can take us off. But I won't start if you know that. Uh,
We're not muted.
Okay, we're gonna start the meeting in about 2 minutes. I don't know if everyone can hear me.
Very good.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this regular meeting of the Friendship Park Public Utility District for Thursday, April 11th, 2024 at 6.
Looks like I lost the audio.
No,
Yeah.
you're there. We lost them.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank
I
you.
I just texted Tiffany.
Thanks, Pam.
How do you do that so fast, Pam?
I computer reset is what she's saying. I don't know. I guess I'm on it. I have Tiffany's. She said, give us a few minutes. I'll be your entertainment for the moment.
Very good.
I get panicked.
I know. I would too, as far as Tiffany was. So I it, I always have my hotspot on backup ready to go just in case.
Thank goodness for you.
Oh my gosh. I've had to use it. Haven't, even Joan's not on. Mary, I had to do it on the last meeting.
Joan's coming on.
Okay.
Did the rest of you have a good week?
It's been a great week.
I am so ready for it to be done. I need, Deborah,
The
you would
weather,
know my place. We just went to QuickBooks Online and it has been a lot.
I can only imagine. I'm technology I used to love it and be in awe of it, and now I don't think like that anymore.
I don't mind change, but man, this learning curve's been a lot for me.
Does it look different?
Yeah, the whole layout. How to do
Okay.
pay, and we're doing payroll online. Everything's different. So
Okay.
I'm gonna be quiet though, guys. Last I heard, we were being recorded.
Oh, oh, that's right.
Who, the Red Chinese?
I have no idea. Just be mindful what we say.
Okay.
QuickBooks will be after me.
I understood the QuickBooks was supposed to be a big improvement.
It is a big improvement, but going online has been a huge learning curve.
I see.
The online version versus desktop is different.
Mhm. Do the other water companies use QuickBooks also?
I think Deborah does for Fraser Park. I
Mhm.
know Kristen Lake of the Woods does, yes, and I believe Lebec does too. When I look at their paperwork.
Oh, good. That makes conversation easier.
Generally, yeah. Okay, they're still trying to reboot there, guys.
I gather we're in a breakout room.
No, their computer needed to reset for some reason, and they're rebooting.
Okay, thanks.
I let them know, and I was telling them how I always have my hotspot on backup immediately. But I don't know that this was an internet issue.
Well, I suppose if I have to, I can get out of my pajamas and drive down there.
Don't you dare.
I know.
We have laws in the county. You can't do that.
Just relax. So Joan, before we came on, they did have a notice that third parties recording. So I don't know what's being said, just or who's recording and if it's recording right now. So just so you know.
Thank you for the heads up.
It seems that we've got the nice weather. It seems that there's tornadoes and hurricanes blowing all over the East Coast.
That's what I heard. It was horrible over in Texas and further.
Yeah, Georgia.
But we had the storms in Fraser Park and what have you not that long ago. And I think you guys are getting some rain this weekend.
Mm-hmm. We're supposed to get a little bit.
I see snow Saturday and Sunday for you guys.
Yeah, I saw above 6,000 feet. So that's above the city. That's above the village.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we'll put some snow into the jet stream and, let it go over to Missouri or Virginia or someplace.
Or it'll hit the mountain and not do anything. Yeah.
Well, I guess there's going to be a lot of skiing this year.
A lot of what?
A lot of skiing.
Oh, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Our friend Austin, who is in June Lake, isn't he?
Hume, Hume, Hume
Um,
Lake.
Well, he
And
should be a lot.
Normally they do, but I think the last photo I saw of them, it had melted.
Mm. Well, it'll rain and snow until it stops. And then the next day will be summer.
Or that can happen all in 1 hour in Fraser Park.
You wouldn't let me log in even though I've done it.
Hey, we can hear you guys. Fraser Park.
Fraser Park?
They can hear us. That didn't sound great.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear us?
We can barely understand you
You're
though.
breaking up, Pam.
You may need to,
Say something,
It
Deborah.
might be.
Hello?
oh, that was.
You're clear.
Okay, so it's whoever that was.
That
Yeah.
was Pam.
Okay, I'm gonna try this all over again, folks.
Okay.
Okay, so we're starting the regular meeting for Thursday, April 11th, 2024, Fraser Park Public Utility District at 6:11 PM. We had some technical difficulties with the computer, so we're gonna go ahead and start. We have no additional teleconference locations, even though it says that in our agenda. We're going to start with the pledge to the flag.
Everyone ready.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Here.
Director Nyman.
Here.
Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
I'm Director Schoenberg and I'm here as well. So we're on item number 2, discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary. What, items do we need adjusted this evening?
Do we need to go into closed session?
Probably just,
12 and 13.
I would think we need to just get caught up.
That would be,
I don't think.
Dee's not here, huh?
He's here.
He's here.
Okay, well, hearing none, if we really need to,
Oh, there we go. Thank
adjust
you.
something later in the agenda, director can call for that. I'm gonna move on to item number 3, public comments. Items not listed on the agenda. This is limited to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you. Any member of the public that would like to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Yes. This is Mary
Okay.
Dryer from Lake of the Woods. My question is, what's that water running down beside the park and all the way to the post office? And it's been going on for about a week.
That is,
Oh.
it's actually been going on for several weeks. That's the natural spring at the top of Pine Canyon. And that's the way it used to flow when they originally put it in the ponds. It used to flow all the way down, and then because of the drought, it stopped for a long time, and now it's running again.
Meaning
Thank you.
What?
Our Sam Young Spring, is that what it's called?
No, it's
filling up.
Pine Canyon.
Or Pine Canyon Spring, whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they put in curbs and now the water won't go into the park.
Bummer.
Any other questions or comments or public, initiatives, anything? That answer your question, Mary?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item 4, as I'm hearing nothing else, report of officers. Starting with myself, the president, I don't think I have anything to report. It'll all be in the agenda. How about the vice president?
Negative.
Okay, secretary,
Negative.
treasurer,
Nothing, we'll talk about everything under the, agenda items.
and APIA representative.
Nothing.
Okay.
I signed some, I had signed some agendas the other day, but other than that.
Agendas, no, minutes,
Minutes,
Thank you.
something like that, yeah.
yes.
Okay, so moving on, board member initiatives, anything under item 5?
Report? No, nothing.
Okay, item 6, manager's report. This is Johnny Allison.
Yeah, we're getting ready to start doing meter reads, and then after that, we're planning on, finishing the main line extension. They got shut down way back in the village here, out here on the park, down to the end of the street.
Right.
We already got, we have all that
100
stuff,
feet in there, no?
everything we need for it, so it won't cost any money. That way the guys will get a hand on mainline,
Work.
extension, yeah, which is gonna be really good for them. And then we'll, pick another trail to do that. And try to utilize our guys' time the best way we can. And the reason I wanna start doing it now is because when we stop, it's still gonna be probably several months, but when we stop having to do meter reads, that's gonna free up a bunch of time, so we can start doing more beneficial stuff to the system, so. I'd let you know.
Excellent
That'd be
news.
wonderful.
And we are putting in the 3/4, right?
The meter, yeah.
Yes, because they changed out mine.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
we
gonna
can,
update you
we're
that
off
on the meter
topic,
project, but-
we'll get on to that.
Okay.
Wait till we
Okay,
get to that
anything else,
topic.
Johnny?
Out of order.
All right, administrative assistance report, item 6.
Tomorrow, I'll be attending a webinar. It's kind of sponsored by CSDA, but it's through USC. And it's supposed to have a lot of really good information pertaining to the district, like possible EV grants. Since California is gonna make us at least partially go EV. It'll also talk about hazard mitigation plans. So if we could get good information on how to do that, it'll open up more grant opportunities. So hopefully good things will come out of that.
Thank you for doing that.
I do have a question I would love for you to, kind of start to put out there to them. Is that in a, climate like we have, altitude that we have, batteries don't do well up here. And so is there something with those grants for, areas like us that would include some sort of housing for the vehicles so that it wouldn't be out in the weather? Because otherwise I think the batteries will have problems.
So that's
I
a
can
good
ask
point,
that.
but I noticed a couple years ago that the school, Elsa Home, has one of the electric EV, like golf carts, but utility vehicles. And, theirs seems to do fine down there, so, maybe they just build them really rugged. I don't know, but it's a good idea for the shelter. It'd be great.
Because my car batteries
Oh, I know.
don't last the amount of time they're
All of our
supposed
truck
to.
batteries too, same
Yeah.
thing, but,
Anyways, that'd just be an interesting thing
I
to
just
kind
parked
of
mine in
put
my garage.
a bug in their ear.
Shut up.
Okay, so, anything else, for the administrative assistant report? Okay, item 7, standing committee standing committee reports. We will start with accounts payable committee.
We met, we went through invoices and we asked Deborah to cut checks. And again, we'll talk about those things under the items.
Okay, thank you. How about state update meeting committee?
Hasn't happened.
Next week,
It hasn't happened.
Diamond,
It's next week.
are you looking for something? That's mine.
No, it isn't. It's
It's on
mine.
my desk. Okay.
No, it's
Well-
mine.
All right, so I guess you're not gonna answer the state update meeting
what?
committee.
The state update.
It hasn't,
hasn't
it hasn't happened. It's next week.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Quarterly financial committee.
It hasn't happened. We meet on next week or something
We'll
like
meet
that.
the 16th,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that. So.
Okay, I do have one comment for the state update meeting committee. I will not be able to be present, and I did ask one director to, if she can cover for me, she cannot. So I'm not sure if there's another director who could slide into that meeting,
When is it?
who's had some.
Next Thursday at 10.
Thursday.
I'll be out of town for next 2 weeks.
Do you wanna step in?
I don't have a vehicle right now.
I can come pick you up.
And you're looking good, so, now, let's get right back in the saddle.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Wonderful,
Thank
okay,
you.
so
Thank you,
that'll
Rebecca.
be, what happens on that day. So any questions on item 7 besides that? Okay, item 8, ad hoc committee reports, the project committee.
We haven't met.
Okay, the financial committee. Oh, there was a question?
I wanted to, even though I don't see
Fine.
the, even though I don't see the generator pad thing.
Well, you could talk about it when we get to that.
Okay, thank you, Rama. I was talking to the president, so,
Out of order.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions for any of the committees? All right, moving on to item number 9, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. This will be Deborah. and
Good
also
evening.
the,
Hello, welcome.
Okay, so we prepared 2 checks out of the meter well account for a total of $2,188.75. They were both on claim 23, nothing extraordinary out of that account. And then we prepared a total of 33 checks out of the revenue operating for a total of $59,283.69. The extraordinary disbursements include, there was a payment to JPIA for 4 bond policies totaling $3,200. And then the employee benefit to JPIA for a total of $10,918.48. There was a disbursement to Ferguson for 2 invoices totaling $9,721.94.
And that 8,528 is the 2 hydrants that we purchased. That we got on fire sale.
Go ahead, Deborah.
Then there was a disbursement to Edison for $7,329.90. A Young Woolridge for $5,931.10. And then the Primary Visa, $5,155.28. And that's all I have for accounts payable.
And are there any items that need to be brought up on here?
Well,
Yeah.
one is the, we are making a payment for the RBS software. And that's for Neptune, to interface. And so that's, $1,250. And I think that should end up going on a claim.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we're paying it, but I think we need to submit it for a claim.
Did you hear that, Carlos?
That's the Oscar.
I know it's an Oscar thing, but Oscar's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just get that information out to Oscar, and if it belongs in that project, then it'll get put in the claim.
So could you, yes, thank you. Okay, and, what else? There was, also, we needed to discuss, how much and where we should take some money from, because our, when we did our, all the checks, the 59,000, we only had 58,000 in the bank, in the operating fund. And as of today, we had, I think, 75,000.
Right, 75,000.
But we have to-
$312.
But we have payroll coming up next week.
Right.
And that's at least
16.
It's taxes and payrolls probably around 16,000. So, I'm thinking that we need to maybe claw back some money from the
General fund.
the general fund. I mean, we, over the last 4 months, we paid back 40,000 to the general fund. And what I'm thinking is that we should maybe move 20,000 back into the operating fund from there. It's still gonna continue to take the 10 every month, so, but I think that's where we probably should take it, because otherwise I don't wanna take it from the long-term asset account, or the only other one would have been the short.
No, that's what the general fund is for, but it should just be replaced because it's sort of a
Yeah, well, I mean,
revolving
like I said,
savings account, basically.
right, so we're still having money go back into that, so, after the meeting, Director Kelly,
Are the other directors okay with
are you
that?
in agreement with that?
Other directors?
You okay with that? So, moving 20,000 from the.
Oh, right,
general-
instead of the automatic 10, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yes, okay, so,
so after the meeting, we'll make that transfer, just to make sure we're padded,
so
because,
it's just to
because
cover the
we-
operating
right.
revenue for now and then 10,000.
because we
will
also
continue
don't
to
know what
come
check,
out back into
we
general
also don't know what checks have cleared.
Okay.
And so, I know we're gonna continue to have money coming in, but it's just to be on the safe side.
A good idea. Any other discussion about that?
And, I'm trying to
I
see,
saw a number of items that look like were those all, recategorized?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
we needed to, let me look at the current one. I'm looking for the, Just give me a second, I'm sorry.
And then the Kern County checks, the standby and the taxes,
They went in.
those both went into revenue operating instead of distribution system emergency reserve.
Yeah, do you want them into the
Because it was
distribution?
running low.
Oh, but they shouldn't do that. If anything, they should go where they're supposed to go and then we.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't
Then
here that day, but
No,
Yeah, what
we
happened
did
with-
that.
Ron and Terry wanted them deposited. So I said we would just deposit them
And then we could
normal
move
and then you guys could transfer it because I didn't know what to do. Tiffany wasn't here to ask.
Right.
And I didn't want to bother them.
Because normally those are going back to Tiffany before they do
Yeah.
anything, so that we don't do.
And
what we've
that's
done
what
in the
happened.
past,
They
which
seen
is-
them on Tiffany's desk. Wanted me to deposit.
We were concerned about them sitting around because of our financial situation, and that's why we didn't know where they normally go.
do you want them on the transfer list?
So I'll transfer those. That's, it was 5,000 something.
I'll get you the amounts and put it on your list.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just don't want those coming in and not being accounted for, because the front desk is always supposed to give those to
And we
Tiffany.
Well,
did.
make sure that Tiffany got copies of what happened.
but we just needed to make sure that we had some money in there before things started going bouncy.
Deborah, are there any, items that we didn't reclassify that we need to talk about that you're aware of?
Oh, from the credit card, I thought everything was accounted for.
Okay.
Let me. Let me check.
A lot of paperwork you took that. as
I
another
think
year.
there, this report, the report that's in the packet was printed before we made the changes. But I believe we changed everything from transactions to be recategorized to the appropriate
Okay.
category.
Yeah, we had money running around crazy. Trying to find receipts.
So, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I know we did the headphones was an office expense. Okay,
I
I
will,
think
when I get
that's-
back to the office, I'll double check it, but I thought I checked it before I left today, and there wasn't anything left from this particular statement to be reclassified.
okay, I will make a motion that we, pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, are there any I have some questions, but I'll bring them up when they come up in that quarterly, which is coming up really soon. Or the quarterly when we get to these, I guess. It's the quarterly we're gonna do is these, right?
No, that's not. So if you got questions, ask them now.
It's just stuff that's under distribution system that I'm not, but it's fine.
Like what?
Like one of the things that I thought might be, it's fine. It's like cool. I think you guys probably asked all those questions, so. Any other questions on this before I do a roll call vote? Okay, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Diamond.
Aye.
Director Gibson. Director Kelly.
Aye.
And Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes 5-0-0. We will pay our bills without any further issues right now. And anything else, Deborah? Otherwise,
No, you gotta stay on. Sorry, Deborah. I think we need to, you.
No,
probably
that's
for the
fine.
budget.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that we did have a special disbursement today. Did that get all the signatures it needed?
Oh, I don't know. Roma, did that get all the signatures?
What special disbursement? Oh, yes.
We were replacing a stop pay.
Oh, also, yeah, we needed them.
That check.
Okay, so a check, came up missing and I went on to the bank and I requested a stop payment on a check. And Deborah reissued a check and.
Came up missing, what, like some mail?
No,
No,
Oh, all right.
somebody misplaced.
yeah, there was a misplaced check,
All right,
so,
so that only needed 2 signatures. Anyway.
right, and I put the stop payment in and it said that it accepted it and
So it hadn't been cashed.
no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so if you can hang on for a minute, Deborah, sorry, we're going to,
No,
discuss a couple more
That's fine, I'm
things.
here.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to item 10 if there's nothing else on item 9. 10 is discussion vote on the USDA bonds. So, what happened is that, we had all those weird things going on with our bond payments where they did not take out enough, or so we thought, enough money from our account. We put money into the payment account to USDA, and they did not take the money, that they took a different amount. And so Director Nyman had lengthy discussions with them, and it didn't seem to get anywhere. We, Director Kelly and I, as part of the financial ad hoc, actually figured out what happened. And so if you guys look at this sheet, if you look at the pink highlighted area, that's the one error that happened so far that Director Nyman caught. And indeed, it is the mistake of the USDA, but they don't seem to be too concerned about it. And
They don't
in
want
fact,
money.
in the bond book, it says that if they don't collect it when they're supposed to collect it, that the money goes to us anyway. So, and they don't even want to discuss making a mistake. So, so we're good with that. That's fine. It's not a huge amount of money, but it was 1734 on one of them, 469.19 on another, and 25.99 on another. But it was just odd because what happened is in October, they used the correct unpaid principal amount, and in April, they used the wrong year's unpaid principal. But now, in the new payment, they actually have gone back to doing it correctly without our help. And so now they have all the numbers correct, they match our numbers for what they're supposed to take out, but in the meantime, we worked on this spreadsheet, Deborah and Terry and I. And so this spreadsheet basically says, starting in 2019, 2020, all of the amounts that should have come out, which we have double checked with our audit. And then all of the amounts that, because a lot of that was wrong in the audits too, it was like written incorrectly. The money came out, but it was not written in the right spot. And then the chart goes forward. I've made a spreadsheet that will do a lot of the calculations for you. So hopefully the future directors will not have to do what Director Nyman and I have done in the past, and some other directors as well, where we just sit with this thing and rack our heads because we forget every year the formulas and everything. So so I wrote it really clearly, hopefully, so all of you understand. So basically, loan 3, it says the interest percentage, then how it's calculated, how all the breakdowns are calculated. So the October interest, the October principal, the unpaid principal, how, the principal that's due, how April is a fiscal year, so it's always coming from the next year and not the previous year. So that we're working with calendar years and fiscal years, which is what makes it so confusing. And then the total principal plus fiscal year, which has to be calculated for the budget. And then that error difference will go away because the error difference is only because of that error that happened with the USDA. So hopefully we don't ever have that again. And then the only automatic replacement amount I put on there as well, I did not calculate the regular replacements, on here yet. That could be done, but we didn't get to it. It was ran out of time. But the, October 15th replacement amount is a set amount, so I'll just put that in there as well. So this should be handy for us to know kind of what's going on and how much we're gonna have to set aside every year, at least for the next, we did it to 2029, 2030. I don't think there's a vote on this because now they already wrote us a letter, which Terry has, that
Yes,
basically said they don't care.
they don't care, and
So-
and what they're gonna take the next time,
And we're gonna put it in the, put that in the file. Or you can give
Yeah,
it-
the letter we need
give
to
them-
hold on to.
We need to give that to Tiffany so she files it, so we have it in case there's some question later on.
But even if there was a question, if you go in our bond book, it very, like, I started kind of laughing after we went through
all
a
of that.
gazillion hours of calculating stuff. I read in the bond book that if they don't take it out when they're supposed to take it out, they forfeit the amount, basically. So it is what it is, but, anyway. it's
I
not-
just tried to be honest.
I
Yeah,
know,
we tried to help.
Well, and we were
so
trying to
it'll be
figure out
clear.
who made the mistake and
I knew it
So
wasn't me.
that's the end of the bond stuff, hopefully for now. So I don't think we need to vote on it, but this is, hold on to this in case, you become treasurer, so you know. And then, this is actually lives in the
Yeah.
FPPUD account in the drive. So
Good
any director has access to that and you can go on it. I wouldn't, go in and muck with it and change it unless you're really good at, doing spreadsheets, but it's there and Tiffany has access to that as well. So, if there aren't any questions on that, I will go on to item 11. And, and thank you, Deborah, for your help with that because I am not, an expert in spreadsheets and it took me a minute to figure out the,
and she was great for
formulas.
helping us with the formulas.
Yeah, formulas, good old formulas. Okay, so, item 11, discussion vote on the district budget. So we also have included, where we are so far in the district budget. So unfortunately, we are what, 300,000?
Yep.
Off so far.
In the red.
This is in the red. This is a rough budget. So what we wanted to do tonight is to, kind of quickly go over the issues that exist. We're gonna have to peel off some stuff and we don't know where the directors would like us to remove things. So that's why we have this here. We have 2 more meetings. We have a meeting on the 3 more meetings. We have a meeting on the 22nd
And the 23rd.
and the 23rd. Just for an hour each to try to make whatever changes you suggest tonight. So I think we should concentrate on this more than some of the other items if we can, that, to try to get through this. I don't know if we want to on the agenda, put this forward a little so that people like Carlos can, lead. I don't know. I don't know if we want to haggle with this closer to the end or if we want to do it now.
So you're saying we don't need Deborah then?
We may need, so we may wanna, maybe we should start this, and then if we have items to shave off, we should do those towards the end, and then. But I mean, it's helpful to have Deborah's input, obviously, since she's our bookkeeper. But, okay, let's just sort of address it, some now, and we'll try not to go too crazy, but we definitely need to come closer to the reality. We're not gonna be able to do a Prop 218 for at least 2 years. We still have 2 more Prop 218 increases, is that
No,
correct?
one more
One more
increase.
Prop 218 increase of 3%
Right,
next year. We just did a 3% this year.
right.
But our biggest issue is actually in our water sales residential. So we don't know why. We talked to Johnny. We can't figure out why we're under, other than what we believe to be, that people are using less water, which is what we wanted them to do. So they listened, but it's hurting us. So, that's all we can think, because there's really nothing that, nothing other than that's substantial that's happened. Like, we don't have a lot of absentee people in this town right now. A lot of the houses are rented, and so, I mean, there's very few rentals and very few sales that are,
I'm hoping that, when we get the smart meters in, they will be more self-assured that the meters are reading the way they're supposed to be reading. Because although we have been trying to change them over the years, it's impossible to change all the ones that should be changed, and it's impossible to determine which ones are under reading. So now with the new smart meters going in, that may help us a lot.
so we don't even see that we're about 150,000 below. Is that correct?
120.
120,000 below, what we expected to have for this
And
year.
the odd thing is, even if people were trying to cut back, water is so cheap. $2.36 per 750 gallons. That's an astronomical amount of cutting back for the town. I mean, I don't see how $120,000, I mean, do the math, how many gallons that is.
What else could it be?
I don't know. I have no idea.
So we're mystified, but that's the problem, because we're 300,000 off around, and maybe 120 of
And
that.
we're sure
being
everybody's
sales.
getting billed and.
I mean, it's sure it can
Johnny,
be.
yeah, Johnny
I mean,
feels
the
like
bills
there's-
get all printed out, they all get cut up, and it's not.
And the odd thing is our businesses are pretty flat, they're stable, they didn't change. So it's not the business water that we're getting less money for, it's the residential.
And
Shouldn't
RVS,
we be getting
run-
more
we
for
run a
business?
report. Sorry, every month we run a report on RVS that confirms that there's no counts that aren't getting billed.
And business is almost identical this year to last year's actuals.
The thought was maybe water theft. Like, I know there's at least a couple grow houses in town. But even then, that's such a super large amount of water that I don't see how it could be that. That's why we're all confused. We have no idea why.
Yeah, because even if it was a grow house, that wouldn't have changed last year's, not, you know what I mean? They wouldn't have paid last year and then not be paying this year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that. I don't know what it is. It went from people paying 120,000 more to people not paying 120,000. So, and it's not that we're that far behind in our, we've recouped a fair amount of our taxes, our monies that weren't paid. So it's a little bit of a mystery. So that's our big income mystery. All
Do you have a
the
question?
I just thought a business revenue on water would have increased. I mean, we had a business open up in town that's, a laundry. And it seemed like,
Do they have a 1 inch or
They have 2 inch, I think.
2 inches?
I think it's 2 inch. Your water meter there, but I mean, it's reading. Cause we read the meter every month. But that's working, and since it's a newer meter, I'm certain that one's working. But again, we all the time find meters that we find out that people have been using them and there's zero read on them. But there's no way we know unless we actively see cars there. If we have a zero read and we see cars there, at least Corey will catch that. Hey, wait a minute, somebody's here, but there are plenty of times we find out that people's meter hasn't worked for several months. But again, that's a whole lot of water. I can't even do the math. $120,000 worth of water,
Yeah.
$236 for
dollars.
750 gallons. I mean, that's. So that would be basically.
Well, it may also be
50,000.
some accounts not paying anymore because they closed or whatever, but
50,000. So
But anyway,
that's like 37.5 million gallons. So it can't be that.
I don't know, it's a little odd, so that's definitely something we need to look at, but what we did as the financial ad hoc is we just went with that, assuming that we're not gonna bring in as much. And so if you see for the proposed rates all the way up to 27, 28, because we did a 5-year projection, that we're even in 27, 28, we're not up to where we were last year.
Maybe that's something we need to ask the auditors to look into.
Well, we skipped a year of our, moving our implementing the 218 a year ago.
Yeah,
You're-
that was previous. So if you look at the 23 or 22, 23, we brought in $1,198,000. And we're not even close to that for this year.
Well, we haven't closed out this year.
But we
But
projected
we
forward
projected
the
what
4
we,
months we had.
what we're going, taking what we, and adding into the, to June of 24. We can't even get higher than this. And we're hoping it was gonna be this.
And so that's one of our bigger issues, why we may have some issues and have to peel off items in our expense area. And then a lot of the other stuff is pretty similar. So if you look at business sales, like I said, that's pretty similar. Bulk sales, we were barely doing, so that doesn't really matter. Late fees, we did go down, so we lost some money in late fees, not a lot of money. But we did, we can't recoup fees the way, we had those laws change, and so some of our fees, we can't charge as much for. Reconnection fees were down, and we will stay down because we can't charge the same amount for reconnection fees. Credit card went way up, so we brought in like 4792 in 22, 23. We're projecting we're gonna bring in 15,000 this year. So that actually went up, but it wasn't enough to balance the rest of it. New connection fees, we did have a couple, we're proposing that we're gonna have like 9,000 new connection, which is, something, it's one, I mean, it's better than nothing. Because we have had a few, not like we used to have, but there's something. Administrative fees have gone down again because we can't charge they went down almost $10,000. So that's because, well, not quite 9,000. So that's again, because we had to change our whole fee structure. Return check fees, kind of those are always the same thing. Kern County taxes, they went down a little. Some of that is not we're collecting, pretty much what we collect normally in our, Kern County, the automatic, property tax stuff that goes directly to us without anything. The standby assessment is down a little bit, but that's because we're also a little bit more accurate, I think, in how we do the standby assessments, getting more and more accurate. We are trying to address that by doing the standby assessment fee increase someday, which Carlos will address later in the agenda. The delinquent accounts, we definitely have less delinquent accounts. We had twice as much last year, and we have less coming in this year, but again, it's not a huge difference. So that's kind of where we are. And then the only, we actually made more money in interest by a few $1,000s this year. Our property lease rental income has stayed pretty flat, and our cashback savings has stayed flat. So really, that's all of our income. So our only real big bump in income is that wherever that 100,000 went. And then the problem is because we can't really bring in more income. We're gonna continue to have issues because we've raised, we have to pay our employees more because we're keeping up with inflation and all kinds of stuff that's out of our control. So
Trying to keep up with fast food wages.
yeah, but what fast food is doing is fast food is lowering
Automating.
hours and going automated, so they're just cutting people. So we're never gonna be able to keep up with fast food. However, we definitely need to keep up with a lot of other stuff, so.
Definitely keep up with fast food orders. Because if you don't, everybody's just gonna work fast food.
No, they're not.
No, because
They're really
they're
not,
only getting
because they're
4
not
hours.
Gonna get the hours.
4 hours
They're
a day.
being
or
nasty.
whatever.
They're like
And no
cutting
benefits.
Yes,
stuff.
and no benefits is a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Two people.
So I'm
families,
saying-
You know,
What I'm saying is, though, we have no choice but to balance. So there's some things that we're not gonna wanna cut. And so I think we should go look at the expenses right now and see where, if anywhere, and our general manager and our bookkeeper and our assistant can, I think we just need some input of where we can cut. So let's just try to do this really, quickly for now, and then we'll go back and look at stuff in the next 2 meetings. And then we'll bring you what we can do, but we can't be 300,000 in the hole. It's just not gonna happen. So we'll be in real trouble. So, okay, so advertising, that stayed pretty flat. And if you want to just follow along on the expenses. And if somebody sees something where they're like, we can cut there, then like, you know, like speak up. So advertising, we kept it pretty much the same. Bad debt, we haven't put in here, but it's also because we're calculating things completely differently now. So we still need to talk to our auditors. Our auditors had us doing this thing with bad debt formula, and it's been done a different way at the front desk now. So that's still a discussion, but it's not a big amount. So I don't think we need to worry about it too much, but we still need to have that discussion with the auditor. Bank fees, pretty flat. COVID, pretty flat. Customer, emergency services, that was just a one-off thing where we paid for a motel because of some issues. So I don't think that's gonna be happening all the time. Depreciation expense, that's pretty flat. You know, we're depreciating things as we go, so there's an expense there. Okay, so digital electronic computer expenses, again, pretty, you know, not a lot of stuff there that we felt was gonna go up and up and up. It's pretty close to what we did last year. Same thing with digital computer. Oops, on the next page. Director's fees. We actually have had to increase that, and that's as a result of some of that money we're getting back. So even though it looks like we're spending twice as much, a good deal of that is coming back from, you know, every other meeting is coming back from the state. Because we've had a lot of extra, you know, we have this extra second meeting all the time. So director's fees ad hocs is actually less money than we spent. We spent more money last year, and we think we spent more money because we had to have some extra ad hocs trying to catch up to all these audits and everything, but we think we've got kind of a going with it, so hopefully we won't have to spend as much money. Distribution system maintenance looks a lot different because we've broken it up. So it used to be just distribution system, now it's got different categories: maintenance, tool maintenance, emergency water hauling, road leak repair, and property repair.
Okay, road leak repair, I don't see that we will be spending $100,000. I'm looking at 27, 28, but, I mean, 60, if we spend 60,000, I think the most we should go, just keep it at 70,000. I don't anticipate that big an increase, 40,000 over 5 years.
Well, we only did that because asphalt's gonna get more expensive. Those people are gonna get paid more.
It's
come out for
it's
their-
super high, so I would say that in that area, if we're able to not hire the Santanas and all these other people we have to hire right now, if our crew stays more stable and everything.
Well, we
then-
can't do asphalt repair.
Right,
We don't have the equipment for that.
right, but this isn't all asphalt. Some of it's, you know, digging, and some of it's like that,
Well, we haven't had to hire Santana, ever to do.
Is that road leak repair also
It's
road base,
It's
road
road
base?
base.
It's road base, it's road hauling, base hauling. It's, when we've hired people to do like the, pressure reducing valve stuff where they had to actually do the backhoe. Because we had too many
Why
things
would we
going
put
on.
that
because
as
we
road
had a
leak
leak.
repair though? Cause what they did was they did waterworks plumbing, they didn't do road repair. They installed a valve for us and helped us with their pressure reducing valve.
Right, but it's leaks too, so it's like whenever we have a leak. So it's roads
I would
and,
disagree putting it in there then, because
Okay.
road leak repair should be just repairing what the leaks do. You'll wash out the
Repairing the roads and the
Peripheral damage.
and
Yeah.
the road that washes out.
washing
to
out the
our-
hillsides is property repair, it's a different category.
Okay, well, so that,
Okay.
again, I'm gonna say that's. I think,
We talked about this with you, so we.
I
should
didn't know
maybe
it was
go
going
back.
up to $100,000 in 5 years from 60,000. I mean, that's.
Well, I
that's
think we
too big
can
a jump.
shave that, but I think our big issue is even this year. So if we just look at this year and next year,
I mean, we
we're
can
already,
mark it, so we can look
yeah,
at
we
it.
should look at it and change it.
See, what happens is it varies per year. Sometimes we'll have several leaks in pavement that we have to repair. Sometimes we go a whole year with only one or two. So there's no way to anticipate.
No,
that.
there's not, but we
But
had to
over
put
5
something in
But
there.
over, I didn't say you didn't or shouldn't. I said, going up $40,000 in 5 years, I think might be a bit much.
But we've already spent $60,000.
I said
We spent
to voice,
$60,000.
to voice the opinion. And I
Yeah,
thought
no,
that's
your
something,
opinion's
No,
helpful. We need
we
you.
could probably save 25 or 20,000 at least. on
But the
that.
pressure reducing valve stuff, that
Is
was,
in this category.
but that was,
Should not be,
that was a lot of money. That was,
but that shouldn't be in there.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Where
then
would
Should be part of the
Distribution
It's
maintenance.
not regular distribution
Why not?
system, because it's not a normal expense.
It is.
It is, and it
Part of
should
our
be,
It's
it
for the system,
should be getting
part of the
done
system.
all the time.
well,
I
then
mean,
we'll
these
have to
ones
add
that-
another
Yes, but
category.
we're not hiring other people all the time. This is all.
Yeah, but
So
this
a
was,
lot of the other people we hired went in this category because it was falsely inflating maintenance, and that's why.
No,
We had
that
an
is
issue.
part of maintenance. That is 100% part of distribution maintenance. 100%. There's no way around it.
because weren't these pressure reducing valves that we hadn't changed in like
Ever,
ever.
ever.
So this,
And we have 4 or 5 more that need the same kind of thing. And it's not road repair.
Right, but it's all under distribution system, so I think you guys are getting too wrapped up in what we're calling it, and let's look at the full number for distribution system, it's still distribution system.
but
It
it's
just
not,
used to be under maintenance and now it's called something else.
Well, I
We
think
can
it's-
change the name.
Yeah, but
The name's
distribution
on the
maintenance-
board.
but
I know, but I
but
think we should
distribution
agree on where
maintenance-
we should put it. I mean,
you have less money in maintenance, which is all the repairs we do than you do in the road leak repair. It's 94,000 in the maintenance and it's 100,000, and I'm looking at again, the last column, 100,000 in the road leak repair.
Well, we can move that back, I mean, but it's not gonna change any of the bottom numbers, is what Lisa's saying.
Well, it,
What I'm saying is it doesn't matter where it moves under distribution, it's still distribution. So I understand and I think we need to look at it.
And we'll look at that.
And we'll
Johnny.
look at it and we need you to be there when we do that
Yeah.
because we haven't always had you there.
well, you guys need to
But
let
it's-
me know when you want me. because
Yeah, no,
You guys
well,
work on stuff that I don't know.
You've been busy.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll free up time for, budget
Yeah.
shit,
So we've just been trying to rush to get something so that
Okay.
we could bring it to you, but I want you guys to look at the bottom line numbers. So the bottom line numbers we spent this year so far, or projected out, 137,200 on some kind of distribution system, whether it be.
That's,
let me ask a question. How much did we spend on one pressure reducing valve?
well. Here,
A lot, that's why we
before
broke it out.
we try to figure that out,
No, because what I'm saying is you say we need to do 5 more.
but that's what I was gonna get at right now. Most of them aren't gonna have to be fully replaced. Hopefully, most of them can just be serviced, maintenance. So in that case, we have to replace, the reason why they haven't been done is because the valves on both sides, the isolation valves, are broken on all of them. So therefore, we can't repair them, but I could call in clay valve and they'll rebuild them. They put new rubber kits in them and rebuild them. So it's not gonna be nearly as much as the one where we replace the whole thing.
And all that is under maintenance. Whenever you call clay valve or whatever,
Yeah.
that's under maintenance right now. The only reason some stuff went under road leak is it was weird, unusual stuff, like we paid extra money for Santana to be working on the pressure reducing valve because we were busy on a leak. So it
But it's
wasn't,
it still is maintenance. It's still.
okay, so
Okay, we'll talk about that, but
it.
But it's still gonna, we still
So,
got.
but what I want you to look at is we're actually under. So we're under for this year. We spent 171,000.
What happened?
I was just gonna say, can you guys hear me? I lost them.
I can hear you.
Okay. So we lost them again?
Yep.
Hear them.
They always argue about it.
Fraser Park, can you hear us?
And now they muted themselves. Well, now they're unmuted. Who knows?
No, we just lost them.
I just texted them.
And I sent them a message on chat.
They're frozen in time.
What about the missing $137,000?
I think they're still working on that. Okay, they're aware and they're working on it.
Okay. Oh, I heard that the EPA is putting in some legislation for chemicals in the water. And I wonder if that was going to, I mean, I'm sure it's going to affect us, but will it affect us beyond what Eric can handle?
I don't think so. If you're talking about PFAS, that's starting to come down the pipeline, and I've signed us up for example, with I think it's UC Berkeley that's doing it. The state has set us up with that capability, so they'll come in and do the testing for us to see if we need to do anything further than that. If that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Was it the PFAS? Okay. Yeah, it
Yeah.
came down the pipe, and I signed up right away to get the sampling.
Okay. Because I was kind of surprised that whether or not that it was chemistry that California didn't request of us already, because they have us check for all kinds of things.
Yeah, I think they blanketed everyone in California.
Mm-hmm. And especially us, I thought we would be somewhat more safe than others, because if there's a well in Los Angeles that is near a chromium plant or something else like that that's putting poisons in the water, we don't have any heavy industry here that is doing that. So,
right. That's why I don't anticipate us having any issues.
mm-hmm. Okay.
It'll just be one of those things we have to check off that hasn't affected us. And, everyone's going to have to do their due diligence to make sure.
Yes. And it would be the basis of a non-existent lawsuit yet to come.
We can just remove it.
Yeah.
Stan, you sound good.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you back.
Thank you. I'll try to be
Pam,
more.
Sorry. Pam, can you text them and ask them if they're pausing the meeting until they can get back to where we can watch it, or are they just continuing on without anybody?
She just texted saying, okay, we're working on it. Sorry and thank you. Okay, let me see.
Pam, your voice is changing.
Mine? Oh, no, it's called fatigue.
I'm letting them know that we want to know if the party's still going on without us.
Yeah, and that would just be so wrong on so many levels.
We want to party with them.
That's right.
They're talking
Although I
about it.
think we have, huh? I think we have better parties.
Well, we definitely talk out of order a little bit more freely. Wouldn't want to be in any other party though, guys. You guys are pretty fun.
Oh,
Here they
here
come.
they come.
Maybe not.
Are we back on? Can you
Can
hear?
you hear us?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I see you talking, but I
Are they
hear
working?
nothing.
I can see us talking.
just saw Pam talk
Hello,
for a
hello,
second, but
hello.
couldn't hear anything.
That's true.
Yeah, I am talking.
Let's see.
Pam, can you, I don't know if you're hearing us. Can someone just come on and nod or something if you're hearing us? Because we don't know.
Let me turn on your camera.
Can you hear us now?
So we got the microphone, but somehow the volume.
G, are you hearing us?
Yeah,
Everybody said they can hear us.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
so they're waving their
They're
hands, so they
waving.
can hear us, but we cannot hear you.
We can hear you though.
Hold on, say it again.
We can hear you.
Okay, now we're hearing a garbled something from somebody. I think that was from.
Yeah.
G, can you say something to us?
Sure, good evening
You sound fine.
great to be here.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go with that for the moment. So I'm not restarting the meeting. I'm gonna read from our agenda because we continue to discuss. We didn't take any action, but I'm gonna read this little blurb that's on our agenda that says, members of the public interested in participating by teleconference may do so using the call-in information above. Please note that this teleconference option is provided as a courtesy and at the participant's own risk. The district cannot guarantee that there will be no loss of connectivity or other technological obstacles to full participation through teleconferencing. By participating in this way, participants confirm that they understand this risk and that the board is not obliged to delay any portion of the meeting due to such technological obstacles, and thus the teleconference participants may be unable to participate. We are doing our best to try to restart when we can and but we continue to discuss a little bit of we haven't made any decisions, but we continue to discuss a little bit of the budget. And I probably need to encourage, because we're having technical difficulties quite a bit lately, that any public that wants to make sure that there are no obstacles to their participation may need to be here in person. Unfortunately, we're working on it. So we're going to pick up again right now where we left off, which is we were discussing during this restarting of all the technology again. So we're on item 11 still, which is the discussion vote on the budget. We can't really have you folks just take this home and send things into Tiffany, because we need to, it's holding us up on our grant. And we really need to, on the 22nd and 23rd, the ad hoc really needs to do something to try to bring it closer to balance or in balance so that we can submit this for our grant. So I would just say we probably need to look at just any area you even remotely think we may be able to make some changes on. It looks like in the future, we may be able to make some changes on distribution, but I think this year's budget for distribution system is,
What about the answering service?
well, that's so answering service. That's a place that we've always had issues with. So where are we at with that?
Johnny,
Huh?
answering service.
Well, I mean, we only have two choices. We can try to not, have one, but the issue with that is, like I said, if we forward it to the on-call person, the phone, which is the only way to get around it, anytime anybody calls is gonna be 3 hours of pay, because that's the law. So people calling and wanting to see, check on their bill, they wanna call, all the stuff that they do all the time, the silly questions they ask, it's 3 hours, 2 hours and time and a half, so it's 3 hours ultimately for every single phone call. And I think we end up paying a lot more in wages than we do in answering service. I really strongly dislike the answering service, but even with an answering service, they get calls through sometimes that shouldn't be placed through, and it causes overtime. If all of them went through, we'd be in trouble.
Can you read that message?
Answering service?
There was a question on the, from the public.
Janice's phone?
Was
Yeah,
that,
maybe we could find a cheaper answering service. I would definitely.
Can't find out where it went.
No, not to worry.
Oh, John.
can you mute yourself, whoever is Janice's iPhone, unless you're trying to ask us a question, because we're getting confused as to whether it's a question or not. I think that might be Joan, not sure.
Can you
Still
mute her?
not muted.
Can you mute
It's not
Janice?
muted.
Can you mute her?
Anyway, so that did go down. It went from 4,900, almost 5,000 to 42, so it did go down some.
And that's because we haven't had the overcalls because.
The answers, no, well, the boy went down, so the answer service.
Answer service
No,
went
that
down
has
a
nothing
little
to do
bit.
with that, cause they take the calls regardless, and then they bill us for
Well, yeah, that's
them.
what
It's
we're
just we've
saying.
had fewer people calling
Oh, right.
them.
Lately.
But
Yeah.
when you call the office and it puts you on hold for a minute, it just redirects it to the
Yeah.
front desk, right? And I'll try not to.
Well, I thought we had something on there where it said,
It does. If it's an emergency, press, one, and if it's a business question, press two. Something to that effect, and maybe that also cut back on the cost of the answering service. Yeah. But the thing is a lot of people will push two. And for no reason. It's an emergency because my bill is due tomorrow and I need to talk to somebody.
It's my
It's an
emergency.
emergency because we get calls for Lake of the Woods. We get calls for Lebec. We get calls if there's snow up here. We get calls for all kinds of weird things that the answering service has to field and not put through to our guy.
Oh, my God.
It's really
So it's
crazy.
cost of doing business, really.
Yeah, and one person's emergency isn't necessarily ours.
I mean, on another hand, the office landline, we reduced by $2,000 almost, which is pretty good. So that's good.
Yeah, that was
But-
on the digital.
Everything else is kind of flat. The one, the problem is the places where we've had big increases, we can't help, like testing. Testing has jumped up considerably, but we can't really,
now, on these years, how much are you going up every year on each?
it's
It's
different.
different
Depends
each
based
thing.
on what we did is we divided everything by 12. We calculated how much we're paying right now, how much we think they're gonna raise it, like, do we think they're gonna raise it by $1? If they raise it by $1, what does that come out to over like, 12
Whole
months?
year, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we tried to do a lot. That's why it's taking us so long is because we're trying to be somewhat
Break it
realistic in our
down and-
projections. We're not just doing that, oh, let's add 5% to everything, because it's not real.
And the lab fees will fluctuate up and down sometimes because different years we're required to do.
Yeah, and if we
different tests.
blow a dirty one or something, then you,
Then you got to retest.
Yeah.
Retest.
And we didn't include if our nitrates.
Oh, you know why
we're
they
gonna
didn't
be in
last year?
big trouble.
because we're testing every month because of the, nitrates,
But
exactly.
that may
The
happen
nitrates
again.
aren't, I think that test is, nitrate is like $15 or
So
$16.
it's not a big ticket item,
No.
but didn't the frequency increase?
The frequency definitely increased, but you know, like that $15 a month would be what it is. Now, one thing is we do more oil notices now than we did before. Because now we've been on the mode of trying to save water and definitely for property damage. So we shut the tanks off faster, which means we have to do more testing to get them back on. But it's we gotta try to weigh that, trying to keep it down and still fix them when they're live and when we have to shut them off.
So I'm gonna throw this to Deborah for a minute because you've been working with our books. Do you see an area, that you think we could make some changes in? Or are we just gonna have to try to figure out a way to to bring in more money? I keep joking with Deborah that we have to do bake sales, but
Not gonna be a joke.
I know.
No, and we tell her her cookies are really good, so.
Wonder why our internet and office computers jumped so high this year. Or 23-24 year. The prior year was 2,000, then we went to 25-25. I thought we would have went down. Or it stayed the same as the prior year.
Where was it? Some of the.
Internet office computers,
Page 3 at the bottom.
66018.
I mean, it didn't jump by a huge amount, $500.
Well, the prior years, yeah. 2,000.
And
It's
then
going down.
we only added $100, like after next year, we added $100 each time we try to account.
Well, it was because we bought the
Actually-
new office, the new Dell. That's the reason that we figured it was up. And we figured that we
Oh,
would,
it's also office.
right,
All right.
so we figured.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was-
that 2,000, the really expensive was we had to buy, I think the
Yeah.
RVS,
Yeah.
or the, SCADA computer.
I was
is
thinking
part of that.
mainly the internet, so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't just internet, it was. So that's the reason goes back down.
Yeah, we had it go back down to 18, and then we didn't raise it a whole lot, so that actually goes down next year.
Pump power is just killing us.
Pump power's.
Yeah,
pump
but there's
power's
nothing we
killing
can do
us.
about that.
Yeah.
Did you guys have your insurance shoot up like big time?
Yes, our insurance went up, our electric went up, our gas went up,
I
our,
thought it was insurance and didn't look like.
Not a million and stuff.
Talk about, you know, our GPIA,
our JPI
Oh,
went up, not,
property insurance.
yeah,
Oh,
property insurance went up.
100,000.
Yes.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Joan.
Ah, she came in person.
Yeah, you took
You
that.
listened to my recommendation.
Go ahead.
Thanks for coming down.
I mean, our biggest jump probably is like medical insurance. It went way up, but that's because we it was down more last year because we lost
We had
an
no
employee.
employees.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
have as many employees. So
Yeah, because
that
I
went
had a
up.
system that I work with that their insurance went up from like 11,000 to 50,000.
No, we didn't have anything like that.
Because of us being in a pool, a big pool with JPIA, ours don't jump as much as some people, because some companies, they have just them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's crazy because me looking back at this and having worked with these numbers, I don't see a lot of places we can cut.
No, that's what we were saying before.
And so
And we're
I don't know what to do.
That's
why I'm
why
kinda
we're like, we gotta bring it to the
Ah.
board because we don't know.
because we're just not bringing in enough.
Well, part of it is we're gonna have to hope that we have a good year for, maintenance. System. And
So another $100,000 worth of water,
if we get I'll start ad campaign,
fire sales.
take the water conservation away. Encourage pools, give rebates for people that purchase pools.
If you put in the lawn, we'll give you $50.
Put those
right?
lawns back in now.
But, I mean, it's like,
Some of our maintenance is gonna come down because the pipeline replacement. One area that's been really problematic and expensive will not be problematic.
Because that area, we've had to hire, special hire, because our guys can't even do it, because it's so steep and crazy.
No, our guys typically have done the repairs on them, but they cost a lot of money for clamps and shit. Clamps are very expensive and overtime is very expensive, so anytime we do even 10,000 feet of main line, it's gonna help us.
I mean, I think it does help if we're turning stuff off, because one of the things that we've done in the past, and because we were so worried about boil notices, which is hard though, because we spend a lot of money on postage, sending all that stuff out or knocking on doors or whatever, but.
Yeah.
But I think turning stuff off sometimes, if we can.
But it's not just that, because my burden that I have to wrestle with every time is, it also causes water quality issues. You shut it off, you turn it back on, everybody's aerators get plugged up, there's the brown water, it's a.
My
so-
water.
So that's
heater
why
died,
they recommend if we can, the best that we can, we fix them while they're on. So I have to find out where that line is where, okay, it's not acceptable anymore, and now we have to shut it down. But in other years, we've done a lot of boil notices as well, and we're gonna be doing boil notices this year for the pipeline replacement. I'm sure that's gonna require at least a couple of shutdowns.
We lost our mic when I was talking to Deborah, but Deborah, in this process, since you've been doing this with us, did you see any areas where you thought we might be a little off base that we could revisit?
I really haven't seen anything in my limited experience to be able to speak to that question.
Right. Yeah.
we'll talk about it on Monday, the 22nd.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff's out of our control. What will help us greatly that we're not considering is the standby fees. So maybe what we should do is we should just, if no one sees, I mean, let's give it another minute to see if anyone sees anything obvious. And then if not, then I would recommend that we revisit this, Terry and I and Deborah, on the 22nd and 23rd, and have something for you again on the 25th. But we also are gonna be talking in another agenda item to Carlos about that standby fee. If we could get away from our $5 standby fees, which are absolutely unbelievably
Archaic.
ridiculous, and that we have not raised in I don't know how many years,
We never have.
before I was
have we?
ever on the board.
Mhm.
And I don't know if we ever have, yeah, so if we could somehow increase that, I think we'd be in a lot better shape. That's a place where money should be coming in, that it's not, that no other company is charging $5 a year for standby.
Say after we the rate study and we go through this time waiting period now, and we do that, how long would it be before we start to see the additional money come in? Do those checks come in throughout the year, all year? Cause it's based on when people pay their taxes, right?
Yeah, they do. We would tell the county in June. So we can only tell them once a year to change that standby fee, and it's gonna be in June. So if we don't make it by June of 24,
Which we won't.
we won't be able to increase that until June of 25. And then that won't hit until November, December 25, and then, yeah, and into 26. So it'll be a while before we see it.
So our last increase that we're getting is in
25.
January of 25.
Right.
Okay, so, I mean, we're gonna have to do a Prop 218 for the consequential years. It's gonna have to go up. I mean, I know it's hard on the community, but I mean, we didn't see part of the problem is, and I agree with Johnny, you know, before COVID happened, we quashed a 10% raise in the rates that we didn't put through. But then we never accounted for, you know, 25% inflation. You know, we didn't, and that, so all that stuff, after we quashed it,
Small snowball.
you know, it's snowballing on us because,
There's no way we could have foreseen that.
and we couldn't have foreseen that. And that's part of the problem is, because when we were figuring it before, you know, we were figuring 5% a year. Well, we got in the last 3 years, it's went up 25%. I mean, it's.
That's why we gotta listen to the people, the professionals that we hire. And not vary from their accepted plans or something that we accept from them. We have to take it as a whole product and not just try to customize it based on our feelings. They're professionals in their field. That's why we're hiring them. And because we have a feeling about the community or not, we kind of stepped on our own toes there because we had gone through the cost, the time, and the effort to run the system. And they gave us a plan and we varied from it, so we kind of brought some of this on ourselves.
Well, I don't even know if they put in a 25%.
No, but
inflation thing.
it would be
Be a
making
lot closer.
a big.
And I would say
deal.
that is an underestimate of the inflation in some areas. In some areas, it's gone up.
Well, yeah, I mean.
For us, I mean, we had to buy stuff from, some of them have gone up 50% on some of their stuff. Copper, anything copper or brass has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
there's a
okay.
whole story about
I
that.
think if you're ready to move on, we'll move on. We'll look at this more on the 22nd, 23rd. See if there's anything else we can do. We may be running in the red, and if that happens, we would have to take from our capital improvement for now until we maybe can raise the standby fees. And you know, that's all I can think of, because I don't really see where the money's gonna come from.
I mean, the elephant in the room is the drop in our, sales,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
And
Well, one of them, because that's 1/3 of what,
But that's only 1/3 of the problem, yeah.
2/3
Is
is 300,000, right?
Yeah.
So 2/3 is still
In the
under,
mix.
and we don't know.
Two-thirds is that rates went sky high for electric, rates went sky high for everything, you know, we had to greatly increase what we pay. Because we have to, because of inflation, because of, it's California, it's really expensive, you know, so. We couldn't continue paying like, you know, minimum wage, we never paid minimum wage, but we weren't very
I
much.
started at
above it.
minimum wage.
Okay, well, we didn't pay.
God bless you. We're one of the
too much
good ones.
minimum wage,
Yeah, I
but-
started at $8 an hour.
I think we'd see benefits from a rate increase before we could see it on the standby fee.
Me too.
Because the standby fee isn't hitting until 26. We could have a rate increase in place by January 26.
Cause I think if we need to start probably in January, see about RCA doing
I'm
another
gonna
rate.
see a little, maybe
Maybe
by
a little-
this summer, because we have to
Yeah.
apply for them, for the,
That takes
for them.
several
It takes a long time. It takes 7, and then at least 6 to 9 months to run the rate study and the Prop 218. So by this summer, we need to start. My guess. The other thing is, and I just wanna say that the reason why we varied in what we were doing is we fully thought we would be consolidated with Lake of the Woods by now. We really did, like. it's-
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
It's been
so-
years and years and years and years, and if we were consolidated, there would be more income, because the more houses
Absolutely.
you have, that's why it's cheaper for water in Santa Clarita or Bakersfield. Because the more you have coming, the more lines you have coming into the company, the less you are
Yeah, it's-
able
the
to
cost
charge,
is
as
spread,
opposed
yeah.
to more.
And now Lake of the Woods has got all the new piping and.
Yeah, and so
Meters.
hopefully they wouldn't be a big albatross because they've done all this extra work. You know, so, but that's not gonna happen now for years either, so I think that also is
Yeah,
in the
another
mix
5 years.
of hurting us in what
Okay,
we
well,
thought,
let's-
so.
Let's move on.
Okay, so moving on, so we're now at unfinished
session.
business, so, D, are we going to go into briefly a closed session to, talk about? Sorry, Joan, I don't think it'd be very long, do you need a closed session, or should we, not do that for now? Has anything changed?
Might have to step away for a minute.
He's muted.
D, you're muted. Do we need to go into closed session?
He went away.
I think.
We probably.
He wants to sleep.
Excuse me, do you need
Oh,
me to
thank you,
stay?
Oh,
Deborah.
thank you, Deborah. We're moving on. Thank you, Deborah. Have a really
Okay.
good week. See you Monday.
See you Monday.
Hi, Dee. Do we need to go briefly into closed session?
Okay, yes, let's go into closed session.
Okay, so
To be
I'm
short.
gonna make it. Well, we'll make it brief, Joan, and
I'll
come
come
get
get
you. Jerry's gonna be out
Jerry
there
can go out
joining
with
you, hanging out with you.
Go on, Jerry.
Okay, so I am going to make an oral announcement prior to closed session, Government Code 54957.7A. A representative of the legislative body will orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. Item 12, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. Government Code 54956.9D1, Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC et al. Kern County Superior Court, case number BCV-24-100199. Closed session, item 13, pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, property two in question 256-070-54 and 256-07055, agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Roman Nyman, and D. Jasper, negotiating parties Jeff French, Emily Wainwright, and under negotiation price and terms of payment. Our director is going to recuse himself, Director Garcia. We will get you in just a moment. Thank you, sir. And so at this point, we are going to go into closed session. The time right now is 7:33. Our public has gone outside for the moment, and we are going to go into a private Zoom room. So that'll take us a minute, and then we'll come back. I don't think we'll be real long, folks.
Hey guys, I'm just double checking. I switched to my hotspot because everyone was saying I was underwater. 9% for like the ones that I need to know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh,
Thank you.
gonna grab all the water so I can walk this crap up while you guys are
Can you
sitting.
hear you guys? Can you hear us?
Yeah, Pam's audio is not coming in.
Yeah, Pam, are you on your hotspot or are you on the house?
I'm on hotspot. I switched over.
You're still going underwater every once in a while. If you die out when it's time for our report, I'll just go ahead and do it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to make an oral announcement. Oh, sorry, guys. Ooh, returning from closed session, Government Code 54957.1A. The time is 7:43. The legislative body of any local agency shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention on that action of every member present thereon. We had no action take place in the closed session. So we are now going to move on to item 14. Discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lakeland Woods Consolidation Planning Project. 14A. Discussion vote on the project timeline. Any changes, Dee? No, correct? We're still waiting for approval or for, well,
Still waiting
that
for,
was sitting with Lawrence and will now be with whoever his replacement shall
yes,
be.
yes, his name is Ruben Mora, and I don't know him, but you know, I suspect he's I'm suspecting he'll be just as good as Lawrence. He's got to get up to speed. One of the things that I mentioned today to Lawrence, and you may have seen the email that I sent, that there are some CEQA issues that we have to address right away. There are some of the surveys that they have to do for some of the endangered species that can only be done in the spring. And I've passed along, and I've mentioned it before as well, that if we don't get going on that right away, we're going to miss that window, and it's going to be another year before the CEQA can be done. I think you know, our project won't hinge on that, but it could well be that the construction funding would be held up until that gets done and approved. So I asked if, you know, he can release part of the money that we've already had approved and get some of those surveys started so that we don't miss that window. I don't know where that'll go, but I'll be pressing on that.
I guess we'll talk about that next week when we go in the meeting.
Yeah, we can talk about that, but we also, just a quick question, because I don't know if that comes up again in here, but that cost is about, the final cost of that's about $100,000, right? But how much money are you talking about having to have ahead of time? Because I would rather see us, if it's approved, I mean, I don't know if we can do that. So, but, I mean, we need to probably do that when we can do it. So we may have to take that out of our ever decreasing funds at this company and try to pay for that. So just so we could get it done.
I've got a request in for Tom to give us an idea of, you know, just what the surveys would be, because, you know, it's not the entire CEQA process. It's just it's a field survey that they have to do with, I think, multiple surveys. So I'll get a price on that, and then I'll get back to you as soon as Tom gets that to me.
So are they holding up the money, G, now?
Pardon?
Are they holding up the money? Because I
Well,
thought we had the $100,000 to where environmental could be done.
you know, Carlos, I don't know. I don't know what we're authorized to spend and what we're not authorized to spend. And
Yeah, I thought that
That had its own category,
has
right?
its own category and we already have approval for 100,000.
Yeah,
Because we had some money into there a while ago, so that was on this last budget, the last timeline budget go round, as far as I remember.
Carlos,
Well,
can
then these,
can you enlighten us as to,
Yeah,
what?
because we have we already have these budgets. We have the $100,000 budget for environmental that's already been approved, so we should be able to spend money out of the environmental. Then we have the 266,000 for design, and that's where we were thinking about taking money out of there to put it in consolidation engineering slash admin, which hasn't been approved yet, but
You've got bills who haven't been paid yet.
yeah. But that still hasn't been approved. But the $100,000 for environmental is in there, so I don't see why we can't start working on that unless Lawrence said
Yeah.
something otherwise.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will contact Lawrence tomorrow. Tomorrow's his last day. I'll write him an email tonight and see if we're authorized to go ahead and expend some of that $100,000 budget that's already been approved. Because, we've also had the engineering budget approved, but he hasn't approved us to start anything. And, I'll check that out.
And Dee, I think the board would probably agree with me in wanting to relay a message to Lawrence to thank him so much for his service to us for all this time. I mean, he's really been extremely helpful. I think, I don't know if the whole board would agree with me on that, but I think so.
Of course.
And I think we would just like to, since it's his last day tomorrow and you're actually gonna talk to him, we don't wanna bother him with, since you have a reason to talk to him, but I think we would love for you to convey our deep appreciation for his service to us in this
Okay,
community.
I'll do that, Lisa. I already thanked him in behalf of me, but I wasn't thinking about the board as well, but I will pass that along because he has been helpful.
And I got another
Yeah,
question. Wasn't the project timeline already approved? What was signed by the board at the last meeting?
Yes, it was approved, Carlos, but we still have some issues with it, but we needed to approve it with Lawrence because it can only go so far this last round. And even though we still have some questions about the timeline down the road, like we still feel there were a couple of dates that will need to be adjusted. We went ahead and signed off on the current with the understanding that that would still be able to be adjusted down the road. So I think that's where we stand right now.
And-
Yes, we
and-
agreed on it, but
And I think the issue also was that this had already been approved and he wanted us to approve it. Because Dee gave him updated numbers for the contract, which he has to take back to his management to see if we could amend the contract to get more money, for the, design and what's left. And so I think at that time, when he says, okay, we can do an amendment for Dee's budget, then we need to also just review everything and say, well, this needs to be extended.
Yeah, because he also said though it could also go the other way to where he doesn't approve the budget and then he says, D, do what you can do with these numbers and see how far we can get.
Right, and that's the problem. And it's not that your design engineering isn't approved, D. You're approved for 266. What hasn't been approved is some of the consolidation engineering that you've done. And I think you probably have about $10,000 or so out in invoices that we haven't paid you and we haven't submitted for reimbursement from the state yet because they hadn't approved us for that budget.
right, what's not improved is that we had all that inflation and different things costing more, so we don't have money down the road. We have money now, but we are going to run out of money before we're done.
Right.
Yeah, what,
And he can't pay you right now, some of the money that the state needs to pay us until they approve it.
Carlos, you hit the nail on the head there. Basically, that question was asked by Lawrence, what can you do for 266? And so we returned a document, a memo to him that explained where we could go with the amount of money that was approved, the 266,000, something like that. And then Lawrence wrote back and said, but how much do you really have? Because we got to take out what we're going to use for administrative. And so then the question is, how much are we going to take out for administrative? And basically that's what I don't know. What are we going to take out of the 266? So that I can then respond to him and just say, okay, well, my response is going to be that we're going to do as much as we can for what we've got. And we're trying.
What was the budget number that, Carlos, what was the budget letter, the original budget letter?
The thing is that letter was sent like way before we accumulated so many invoices from D. So right now we have.
How much? I thought we moved something. We're moving something like.
Yeah, we were gonna move. We were gonna move. I think like 30-something thousand out of design to put in consolidation engineering. Yeah, but now I think D's accumulated probably close to 20 grand in consolidation engineering charges now. So, and then he has to account for, we still have like a year and a half left in planning, or 2 years. So he has to account for any future charges as well. So I thought D had put down that he was going to ask for like somewhere in the 60-something thousand, if I'm not mistaken, in one of those emails he sent to Lawrence. So I don't know if that's still the case or not, but D has to take into consideration, how much more he's going to be charging in consolidation engineering and how much is owed at the moment. I don't think we need to move anything into admin. I think we have enough to cover us for like 17, 18 months. And also not standby, but what's the budget that Tiffany's money comes out of? I can't remember. That budget, staff recovery costs. I think we're good on that one for like another 17, 18 months as well, if not more.
We added to all of that from when we took money out of, I believe, the contingency way back when we added.
We had to close out the contingency.
Yeah.
So I think those two budgets are fine. I think the only budget that we need to account for is the consolidation engineering / admin for D. And we have to take into account how much we owe him now and how much he's going to charge in the future to it. And he has to project that into the 266 we already have, because there's no other place where that can come out of if they don't allow for the budget increase.
Yeah, and I already did that. The thing that I didn't know was how much that we might want to take out in addition to that. But really, the bottom line is whatever is left, we got to get started on it. And the big thing is for Lawrence to say, get started. We could start our surveys right now, and not the CEQA surveys, the surveys that we need to make for the sites and for the alignment, and we can get going. And if we don't get going pretty quick, we're not going to get as much done as we thought we would. So, I don't know what the hang up is on the state side. Why they don't just say, look, you got 266,000, you might have 236,000, get going. We need to get going, and we won't overspend it. We'll spend what we need to spend in order to.
Well, wait, D, listen. Here's the design. The design is 266. So you're already, Carlos said, we're already you've already invoiced us for about 20 grand. So that brings it down to 246. Because we had no budget left in the consolidation engineering. So at 246, you still have another 18 months of consolidation engineering that you're gonna have to do. And is that gonna be another 20 grand? Is it, so really you're gonna only end up with probably 200 or $220,000 to do for design.
Yes, yes, I'm
And-
aware of that. And, you know, the bottom line on the whole thing is we can go to that limit and we need to get started, and somebody's got to tell us, I think Lawrence or now Ruben, to go ahead and get started so that we can get that going.
Well, I think this is something that we're gonna have to discuss when we meet Ruben on Thursday, but also I think you need to have your figures together or have a talk with Lawrence. When you talk to him tomorrow, have a talk to him about the situation, saying, look, we've already spent 20,000 of consolidation engineering that would come out of that. And I'm gonna need an additional, whatever your number is, which is gonna bring down, this is what I'm gonna have left to work with, and I need to get started.
Because, and also all that extra work on 8 and 9 is all coming out of that money that doesn't have a pot of money in it, that budget line that doesn't have money in it. Because it's not design, that stuff, it's like all the extra piddly things that we're still doing that are outside of the design, right? So.
Right, and so we may not get to 30%, we might get to 25%. And, and we're not gonna know until we get going. And so, and I have made that projection. And, if we are stuck with 200,000, we'll do $200,000 worth of work and do as much as we can to get certain components that are more important than others to 30%, and others that we thought we could get to 30%, we might get to 15%. But the point is, we need to move ahead and get going on this for whatever money we got left. And that's my concern, is we're also up against time.
Yeah, and we'll have to have that discussion on Thursday with the state. But I don't think there's anything impeding the start of environmental, because that 100,000 is solely dedicated for environmental. So, but we can talk to them on Thursday and get the go ahead to do what we can do.
Yeah, I just don't want to get the district committed to, $30,000 or $40,000 worth of environmental work, and then have the state say, well, no, that wasn't authorized. We've got to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that? What you're supposed to be asking?
Okay, so
Problem, right?
are we good on moving on to 14B?
We are.
Which is really kind of where we're at as well. So 14B,
Yeah.
discussion vote update on the budget and adjustment request. So we really have we kind of morphed into that, but.
Can I say, Carlos, when you send your agenda, for Thursday, can you include the where the budget is currently, an updated one, so that we have it?
And that can still go to me, but Tiffany, you'll need to make a copy because I can't discuss it because I won't be there, but, for Becky, Director Gibson.
Yeah, it'll be on the claim that I sent out, the current budget where we're at.
Okay, so do we have other budget adjustment request issues that we need to discuss before then?
No, we're just continuing to wait on the state, and that, I mean, we've just been told, month after month, oh, management's working on it, management's working on it. you know?
And unfortunately, we can't,
There's nothing we can do.
about it.
I mean,
And I think it's gonna be more difficult because we now have someone who's gotta come up to speed. Lawrence has to bring this person up to speed and we do as well.
and he's
So,
gone tomorrow, so he's probably on his own.
yeah.
You guys have got to bring him up to speed.
So, okay, well, if there's no other questions on 14B, let's go on to 14C, discussion vote update on the standby fee assessment and funding. As you heard, Carlos, it may not help us, but we're very much in need of, trying to adjust that amount.
Yeah, and I answered all the questions the state had on the work plan and resubmitted it to them. I still haven't heard back. I should hear something back next week, early next week. I have a meeting with the people in charge of the work plan usually on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, so I should know something before the next meeting.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Carlos. Okay, anything else on that? 14D, discussion vote on the project technical memo. Are we, any further along on that, Pete?
Submitted it today. You've got a memo and I've CC'd you with the memo I sent to Lawrence. And there is a link that I sent as well to a Dropbox that has that report in it. So it's done and submitted, and so Jesse will review it, and Ruben will probably review it, and some other. There's nothing really.
Great, thank you. I didn't have time to look at that yet.
It's only 140 pages, so anyhow, it might take. But the important part of that's probably about 20 pages or 30 that really summarizes everything. And really, what it does, it brings most of the information that we've already done. The thing that's new is a comparison of different alternatives that the district could look at, or we need to look at in order to justify the selection of the regional project, which is the selection. But there are, other alternatives that we had to look at, and we did that. And there's a budget.
Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm sorry, that's it.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say that was where you had talked about, it would be cost prohibitive, but you had talked about the possibility of Tajon and, bringing water from another source and all that. So that's all included now, which wasn't in that original big, thick book that I still never got all the way through.
I don't blame you. It puts you to sleep. Puts me to sleep sometimes, but right. And the option for the water out of the aqueduct is so expensive. That is, it's really cost prohibitive at this time. And not only if we were to be able to fund the whole thing with a grant, the operational expenses are quite high. And so it would either double or triple our water bills just in the O&M. And so, it's a tremendous amount of power that it takes to lift that water from the delta all the way up to the top of the hill. And that's the main component. So really, I'm pushing, I'm thinking, if we get some water quality issues, we're just going to have to look at treatment. And that's just we're going to have to do. And, the only thing that we can't treat would be, uranium. And we've been able to really stay under the MCL, very close to it. The new wells are way down in their uranium content. So I think we're in pretty good shape. And that's really, I think, the thing that we really would have to lean on if indeed we got a water quality problem.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else on 14D? 14E, discussion vote on the acquisition development of well number 8 and number 9 property. We actually discussed some of that in closed session. Is there anything for open session that we need to talk about? For
Okay.
either E or, well, I guess let's do E first.
We're pursuing that property.
So we're still working on it, and is there new information on that grant where we're trying to break out 8? Is there any new anything new that you've needed to do in the meantime?
No, that's also in review. And I've asked Lawrence about that as well. We're really looking for a letter to the district that says, not only have you qualified, we're going to fund it. And then at that point in time, we have a few things to do in order to get the construction funding. But yeah, kind of waiting on, the state in order to notify us.
Okay, so moving on to 14F, discussion vote on the acquisition development of well number 9 booster and tank site. You did mention that we are looking into that as well, in some discussion about trying to obtain that site.
Yes, and those are going well.
Okay. So 14G, discussion vote on district sphere of influence. That's tabled, that's done, it's over at LAFCO for now. Nothing else is happening on that at the moment. 14H, the MSR work. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but where are we at on the MSR?
Well, I'll let Tiffany address some of that. Bravish is getting it done. Tiffany submitted some information that he requested. And so I think, with that information, I think we'll have it completed. One thing, I do have a question for Joan, if she's still on the line.
Right here.
Oh,
She's
okay.
actually in the room and present.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, good. Joan, I think you mentioned something about a map not including some of the property that's in Lake of the Woods. And I don't know that, did you send me an email on that and identify those? And is that the case? And if that's not the case, can you tell me what the APNs are so that we make sure we map those in? And I'm assuming they were
She's nodding yes. Did she send it to you already in an email?
with the APNs.
No, that can.
You could just talk, Joan.
You'll be able to hear okay?
Yeah.
All right, so one of the maps included the areas around our well 6, which we knew we wanted to include on the sphere of influence. Another map seems to have erroneously gone way past that and started including SoCal Edison's transfer station and other properties past that. And that's what I was bringing to your attention, that I don't think that was the district's intention to include those. And that would be on the email that I sent you. It refers to which maps on which pages, that you need to look at the 2 maps and how the lines are drawn differently on them.
And aren't those in Ventura County?
No,
They're just
that
outside.
station is not.
Yeah.
But we had talked about not including that station forever, so yeah.
Yeah,
So somehow,
the sphere of influence does not indicate that we're going to serve water to any of the properties that are in the SOI. The annexation map would be the one that we would want to make sure that we've got everything in. Or we de-annex and annex, depending on, the next, what we finally end up with. But the SOI is, this includes lots of property that, is totally the district's decision whether we want to serve it or not.
yeah, I think we went all the way up to the Ventura County line with the SOI because we weren't anticipating ever including those properties. But we needed to say on the MSR that they were in our new district. Boundaries.
Sphere, yeah.
Yeah, sphere, not boundaries, but sphere.
It's my email to Dee of March 26th. Everything is on that.
Okay.
March 26th.
Did you hear
Thank
that?
you, Joan. March 26th, I got it. I just want to make sure that I have done what you requested. And so, thank you for identifying that, and I will go back and take a look and make sure that we did.
Yeah, so there's two distinct maps now. One is the annexation map and one is the sphere of influence. The sphere of influence is larger than the annexation.
Yes.
Much larger.
Okay.
And then question,
Yes.
so Pravish was emailing me and asking me for the 2022-23 actual numbers. So when I got back in, the easiest access I had to that information was this proposed budget. So I sent that to Pravish and told him, just look at the 2023 actual numbers because those are real. But he's asking, he goes, he wants to know which proposed numbers he should use. The proposed numbers from the original 5-year budget or the proposed numbers
now
from this one?
Yes, because the original 5-year budget is way off.
Because this one's still in draft form.
Yeah, but it's closer.
But it's a lot
It's
closer than, because the other one, when I done it with Director Garcia, that year, it was projected, that was like way projected out, and it's definitely not.
So you want him to
Right.
use the numbers from this draft budget?
Yeah.
Yeah, because part of these proposed are actuals. Because
Right.
we've only got 2 more months.
These actually are, no, the 23 are actual.
Yeah, but the 23,
The
24
24 proposed are actually almost actual.
because there's only 2 more months.
Right.
Right.
And then in fact, some of them are actuals because we would ask Deborah, we would try to project, you know, do we have any more bills coming from such and such a place? Or if we do, how much is it a month? So we added all that.
Yeah, that's why.
So it's pretty close.
Okay, I'll let him
To
know.
actuals, the proposed.
Yeah.
So what did we,
Okay.
what did we conclude?
So we concluded that he needs to use the numbers, not that the numbers are erroneous from our original 5-year budget from 5 years ago or whatever it is, from years ago. That those are not good numbers to use and that he needs to use the current draft budget numbers for both the 22-23 are the actual correct numbers and the 23-24 are very close, if not the actual numbers, even though they're still in draft form. Even though we still have like a couple months to go.
Mhm. Okay, so which one? 22-23 or 23-24?
22-23 is actual, it is correct, but he asked about our proposed numbers as well. So 22-23, it is the actual numbers from our, I mean, those are what we spent.
On
The
23-24.
23-24 are the current 23-24 proposed budget that goes all the way to 29-30 or whatever it is, 27-28.
Yeah, 27.
Those are the ones he should use, not the old budget that's on our website, because that is not correct now. Things changed radically due to inflation and a lot of other things. So, so the current draft that we have, that Tiffany has, but is not on the website, are the numbers he should use for proposed. For actuals, we have the actuals, and he should be using the actuals and not what was on the budget, which is what he was using on the old budget, which is totally wrong.
Okay, Tiffany, you've been dealing with him. Do you want to pass that along to him?
Yes, I just emailed him and let him know to use the numbers that I sent him today.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
resolved. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, because when we looked at what he had submitted, it was not close. Okay, 14I, anything else on the MSR?
That's
Okay,
all.
14I is
Table.
tabled because we haven't done that yet. 14J is Lake in the Woods.
Joan.
I think Pam's gonna do it.
Pam, and then Joan can fill in.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. If I drop off, Joan, you're up. So pressure testing and lab testing is coming along. We've gotten some labs already back. So as soon as those are done, we can finish bringing them on to the subdivisions online. Nothing for the generator project, the $5 million project. We're still waiting on the designs and we're still working with the forestry. Well, number 4 is still offline. The blending station nitrates are between 4.1 and 5.2 for the month of March, 5.2 being the most recent sample of March 26th.
And even underwater.
We just went underwater, so Joan's gonna continue, I think, Pam.
Okay. Let's see what it says on the notes. Yeah, right, she gave you the nitrate. The only thing she was gonna do is to ask Johnny what your nitrate levels are for well 5 and what date you think you took those most recently, and well 6, what the nitrate level is and what date you took that most recently.
Well, 6, I don't know offhand, well, 5 has been hovering right around 8.70. 8.7, which is actually good because it was looking like it's climbing, now it's not again, so.
Holding stable?
Yeah, hopefully it was just a temporary spike. Somebody flushed their toilet or something. I don't know what it is.
On the day that you took.
And we don't have data on 6?
Well, I mean, I'd have to go in and call up the website and look at it. I'll get it to you though.
Okay.
No problem. I'll make a note to make sure I don't forget it.
Okay.
Anything else,
That's it.
Joan? Okay, any questions for Joan or Pam? Okay, moving on to K, 14K, discussion vote on claims and payouts. We don't have that yet, Carlos, correct? So nothing yet till next week?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, so,
I have a question.
yes, there's a question.
Can I back up to, Jay? I wanted to know if, Lake of the Woods had, the readable meters that we're installing here. Have you already installed those in all of your?
Yeah, we've had them in for many years. Our difference is that we are not doing the AMI, so it requires the driver drives through the community. It takes him about 45 minutes and he picks up all of our meters.
All your meters been completed?
Oh, yeah, we did that in 2019, I think. We've been on meters for years.
Yeah, because they didn't have meters, so they went directly to those,
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification.
which is very nice, which is why we may have more time to do things we need to do instead of spend days reading meters. So, okay, great. Thank you, both of you. And, so we are going to go on, unless there's anything with K, we're gonna go on to item 15. Discussion vote update on FPPD meter replacement project, emergency well supply project. 15A, discussion vote update on well number 7. I'm sure that we have not moved forward on that, and now we're gonna have a new person. So, any news on that, Dean? No, none, right?
Right.
So I guess we'll just move on from there. We're still waiting. Who knows when that will ever be completed? And capped, we're on, and the fence up, we're on 15B, discussion vote update on meter replacement. This is happening.
That's happening.
Yes, we're happy.
I gotta say that so far I've been really very happy with Rough Construction, with the crew they got here. They are working really quickly, systematically, not breaking things, which I was fearful of. I mean, some things are gonna break regardless, but it won't be them. I know that much. So it's been moving along great. I think we got about 140 meters in the ground already.
Wow.
Which is really good. The first week they were here, they just had 3 guys here. Now they've had a 8-person crew. Cause they have a couple guys going around ahead of time with the shop vac and vacuuming out the meter boxes, and then the next crew comes in and does the meters, and then they got a crew that comes in and installs the antenna. So, yeah,
Don't forget that we're having our guys mark the meter location for everyone.
Yeah, our guys, go in the morning, and they walk the route that we think they're gonna get done that day. We put a flag in the ground.
So they're not
There's been
looking for them, they just
a
walk
few
right to
hitches
them.
in the program because minor ones, but they're just details, like they're matching meters with the serial number, while some of the meters have serial numbers from a year and a half ago when this project started. And since then, the meters have been changed, so we worked through that, told them what to do about that situation. Some are locked off or not locked off when, they weren't before, so, but yeah, it's been moving along really great. Dee's had, Matt, on site here every day when the crew's working, and they changed their hours to 410s. To work with our schedule, so things don't happen while we're not here, it doesn't cost us overtime.
Question. So when they change the meter out, how are we capturing, are we doing a meter read before they take the meter?
They're getting, Curtis has nailed it down to where, a couple things I thought were gonna be a problem, I was worried about. When I voiced that to Curtis, he had already foreseen that. And he asked way more information than I even need, or thought I would need. But Curtis has done this before, so he knows, so we're getting the prior read, we're getting all the information that we need, each is on its own separate worksheet. We got our first, batch of information today because, Tiffany's is gonna have a trial to begin with, because she has to go back into every account in RBS and change some stuff. Some of the blocks that they need for the radio reads to come in from the cloud, we use for different information. So Tiffany's got to move that around on each thing. So, but it's just part of the growing pains, but the meter is going well right now. I'm really thrilled.
Right, I just wanna make sure we stay on top of it.
Oh, we are?
We can't afford to lose.
Well, here it is.
Any money.
Well, here it is. Right now, Rough Construction gets all the information that Curtis wanted. Matt is also here and he's on his own notes, getting all the information. Again, a second time, so we have redundancy because Curtis knows that because there will be some issues, meters will get mixed up or whatever. But so we'll have two sets of notes to compare it and track down what the issue is. We're also keeping all the old meters, of course, for recycling, but we're gonna try to keep them in piles per route. So if we really have to, we could, and it's really important, we could find the meter itself to get a read.
Right,
But
'cause
the chance of it being totally wrong with two separate sets of eyes reading it is.
Yeah, I just can foresee also people, when they get their bill, all of a sudden saying,
Well, there's gonna be a lot of that.
oh, we didn't use that and it's a new meter
And the happy news about that is they're all gonna be brand new and people are gonna be getting billed for what they actually use. And
Right.
Like I said earlier, where we're not getting our revenue because it's not registered in teeth brushing and stuff like that. So,
maybe we'll end up getting more.
yeah.
And they'll theoretically at some point be able to follow along and see where they're using too much water.
Yeah, at
you
some
know, so
point
that
they will
can-
certainly be able to do it.
Yeah, so they'll know if it's crazy, like, oh, well, that's because you had a leak at this point and it did this.
To my knowledge, Dee might be able to, answer this, but to my knowledge, so far, Curtis has not gotten the approval from the grant for that added cost for being able to monitor it from home, because that was an add-on after I went to Neptune.
Right,
So, but I would imagine that we would pay anyway if we didn't.
but we hoped we could do that.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
Curtis is working on getting that,
Okay.
so you get the information and everything to submit it in a claim.
Yep.
Oh, and the things that are gonna be installed at the two tanks that all the meters will talk to are gonna be probably the week of the 22nd. They'll be installed. So, yeah, they're knocking it out.
Well, I can say that my meter has been changed. The only thing I didn't like was I didn't know it was being changed. And when I flushed my toilet and turned on my water, I could
No
tell
water.
that it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's standard practice for us.
What, dirty?
If
There's
they,
some dirt in it?
if
What-
they,
what-
my guys have been instructed to do it the same way all along. They have to look at the meter if you obviously see somebody there, then you notify them, but if you open the box and the meter ain't turning, then we shut it off and we replace the meter, and it's usually so fast, nobody even notices.
So you're saying you just didn't have water for a little bit?
Well, I go flush my toilet and it made this horrible noise.
Right, because it was off.
It was off and my husband says, why was the water off?
And if we knocked at every door, it would take so long to get this done, because people talk and bend your ear, and then some people are gonna complain.
Oh, yeah, I've already got a neighbor.
Do we have something in the paper though that says, do you think we should put
Well,
something
I
in
didn't
that
really
just
want the
says?
whole, conspiracy theorists to,
Unleash
be
on you.
preemptively warned, because before this started, I've had people say, oh, you ain't putting it in my house,
I've already got a
which
neighbor
they have no
saying
right to
that.
say that we can or we can't.
Right.
But I remember the drama that they went through with the
With the
smart meters, the electric meters. And I'm just postponing that as long as possible. Now, the sign project for the meter replacement is placed right on the corner of Monterey.
So they should be aware of it.
Road. So
If
we're
they-
telling people,
Right.
and I would imagine Gary's gonna see that soon and ask me about it.
When was it put up?
Yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming
Yeah, Tuesday, I think it was.
when
they've
people
only
are
been
flooding
here
on the land,
Monday, right?
that's our property right there. But I didn't confirm it, we're positive that we go all the way to that corner, but I had to put a sign there anyway, if somebody complains that I'll move it.
I'm
Oh,
pretty
geez,
sure
we're a
that
public
that's our
entity, for
property.
Christ's sake.
Yeah. The only reason I question is that
complain.
there's a for sale sign for a piece of property, there's like a little gate just to the right of the sign. And it didn't look like a gate we would have put in, so I wasn't really absolutely positive, but anyway, I put it there. Right there on the corner.
Good job. Moving on.
Okay, so, any other questions for Johnny on meter replacement? Or for Dee? Okay, on to 15C, discussion vote on claims and payouts, same thing, it's not till next week and Oscar's not here, so we will, go forward from there. 15D, discussion vote update on bridge loan requested payments, we, did request.
Oh, that was something.
Oh,
that-
okay, so,
the bridge
so
loan.
we did get a $30-some thousand one that we paid. Just a note to the treasurer, and Tiffany's gonna check it out, but, every time we get a wire transfer, they charge us $15. So that's coming out of the meter well replacement account. And remember, we had like $100 extra in there. So we have to be aware that every time we use it, so we need to probably replace that $15 from the operating expense, transfer it back in and keep it at like $100. So cause when they make the payments, it's sometimes it's above or below. So, we had the $100 as a cushion to make sure that we didn't overdraft anything. So that's just something that we need to be aware of.
And so we're gonna transfer that money in there from operating revenue.
To the meter. well.
Yes, but she's gonna take a look at it and then we're gonna just get it back to $100 again. So it may be $15 or $18, whatever it is, but Tiffany will let Terry know.
Okay. And we're just gonna try to float it at 100.
Yeah, we floated at 100.
Okay.
And the Lake of the Woods one, I looked at it and it's, all the checks have cleared and it's at $100.08. So that one's perfect.
Okay, any other questions on item 15? Okay, item 16, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. 16A, discussion vote on potholing mapping that's completed. We don't need to talk about that. 16B, discussion vote on engineering and design.
Well, we're like at 95%, and that's kind of where we've been for the last 2-3 months, and until we get some construction funding or some comments from the state, that's where it'll sit until we're ready to go.
But the design is done?
Yeah, 95%. The construction
Yeah,
funding has already been applied for.
Okay, so, 16C, discussion vote on engineering contract.
We
Did
are,
we
we
finished
already,
that.
we already
Do
approved.
we
But
want,
we haven't signed it yet. I haven't gotten the final copy from Dee.
Yeah,
We're
there-
just gonna change the project title.
there were still a couple of issues on that we brought up to you, Dee. Do we have a final that I can sign?
I'll check on that. We sent what I thought was a final on March 28th.
Remember, you were gonna change the
We-
project title on that
We
though?
had a problem because the title did not match what we submitted as the grant, so
I remember that, and I remember changing it, but I don't know whether you guys got it.
remember sending it to us.
I'll check that.
So yeah, we need that, and then we'll send that to Carlos, and then Carlos can send that in.
Carlos, did I send that to you?
Yeah, you did, and then, we talked on the phone and I told you that project title was fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get it to you.
So it just needs, it needs to be signed by the water company though.
We gotta sign it and you gotta sign it.
Dang.
Is that
Okay,
inside?
yeah. I got a note to myself.
Get
Okay,
it going on.
okay, so, 16D, discussion vote on the project application. Where are we at on that, Carlos? I know we still don't have the budget, but, you were saying there were a couple other items last time?
Yeah, we need, the NOE from the state clearinghouse. So we need to get that state clearinghouse number. And then I need to put that on the environmental application. And then I need to also submit the filed NOE with the environmental application as well. I need the engineering contract. I need the 3-year budget. And then we need to finish off the TMF assessment packet.
Okay, well, do we need to just give you a separate budget or can we submit a 5-year budget?
It could be a 5-year budget, but they need at least 3 years.
Okay,
And the reason I was trying to get away with using the one that's on the
Website.
Nope.
no,
Another.
don't do
no,
it.
no, well, I'm explaining to you guys that I was trying to use the one that's on the rate increase that was done. But then Lauren said that maybe that budget didn't have stuff that's more current, so that's why I requested a newer one. And that's why you guys are doing
And
the
it
3-year
has some
budget.
issues that we've resolved since.
Yeah. So as soon as I get
So
that,
Dee,
then
you're gonna
upload those via fast.
Well, I believe we're gonna try to vote on that on the meeting on the 25th, so hopefully we'll have it after that.
Okay.
And Dee, you're gonna get the NOE number and clearinghouse and all that to Carlos?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, are there any other questions on 16 before I move on? And I think Carlos, with that, we're done and you can have a good weekend, hopefully.
Alrighty, thank you. You guys do the same.
Thanks,
Thank
Carlos.
you, good night.
All right, good night.
Okay, moving on to item 17, discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation of Special Districts Grant. 17A, discussion vote update on purchase of the generators. That is basically done, but we just are waiting for load banks still, correct?
Johnny, okay.
Which is actually
No,
B.
no update on that.
Okay, so both A and B, because actually B is the discussion vote update on placement and delivery of the load bank. So, as far as we haven't paid for all of the generators yet because, which is A,
It's
because
about,
we need the load
between
banks.
the load banks and what we owe on the generators, it's probably about $125,000. And so that'll bring our long-term asset account down to $1 million. Or a little just below $1 million. So,
And I'm gonna have to still order, and they'll probably be pretty pricey, the leads, the copper leads, there's 4 per generator for however far they long they are, but I need to get those ordered so we can test them.
Yeah.
But how long, do you know how long they need to be?
Yeah,
They're all different.
Depending on where the generator is set, in
Set,
relation to where it has to plug in.
So you can't order that yet, then can you?
No, because the generators are where they're at.
The load banks gonna sit on top of the
The load
generator.
banks don't have any bearing on the leads. The leads are
You
just,
just gotta measure each site
yeah, the
individually.
conduit from the generator to our motor control cabinet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the.
and that's all gonna be behind locked fences and stuff?
Well, and it's not even gonna stay there. That stuff is gonna be, all the generators, all of the generators are at sites that are fenced.
Right.
And, they're only gonna be there in a power outage.
Oh, okay.
Do
So-
we? Sorry.
No, I was just, yeah, so we'll do them for testing, but then they'll be locked
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah, and
So
then if we have a power outage, then we'll
take them back up
take
there.
whatever leads, whatever part of town is affected and go out there.
But are we going to regularly maybe run stuff just in
Yeah.
case,
Yeah,
so
we're gonna
that
have
we
to,
have some
yeah.
sort of schedule? Because in the past, when we had that other generator, I know that, we found out that stuff wasn't happy later
that-
on.
That's, well, I mean, we
Not
did
your
it the
fault,
way we were supposed to, but then we had to stop running that generator
because of the load
because
bank
it
issue.
didn't have a load bank on it.
Right,
Now we're not gonna have that, but yeah, we'll have to start them every month.
okay.
And I found out an interesting thing about that stuff. Our permits dictate that you cannot use your generators to offset the cost of like, peak power hours. Like, oh, it's cheaper to run our generator than it is to pay Edison for their peak power. Specifies that you cannot use them for that.
Well,
Very irritated by that, yeah.
Sneaky.
Yeah,
Well, they wanna
specified by who?
by air quality control. By the people that permitted it.
They're in cahoots,
San Joaquin Air quality
they're in
control.
cahoots with the electric company, make sure they get the money.
Well, they probably don't want the diesel spewing into there
Yeah,
any more than they didn't have to, but yeah.
Right.
But that's interesting that
But
it's.
the
a
power
very
company will
specific-
run those to generate the power,
Yeah.
diesel motors and everything. Yeah,
okay.
Okay, any other questions on 17? Okay, item 18, discussion about update on the water tanks repair and the replacement and funding.
any updates?
So they haven't told us anything at all, but I've been watching the minutes, reading the minutes from the Board of Supervisors meeting, and they're handing out block grants right now. They just awarded 2 at the last meeting. So I'm thinking it's a no, because they're handing them out and we haven't heard anything, but they were supposed to have told us either way.
Is there somebody that we could email? and-
Yeah, I'll email them again, but yeah, they just approved 2 block grants at the last meeting, so I know they're doing them.
And what were those for, just out of curiosity?
I don't remember at the top of my head.
Do we need to come here and stand in front of them and say that we need it?
Don't they, I
I
thought
don't know.
they issue I remember reading something that's been quite a while with like another set of block grants where they said who got what and what it was for and.
I mean, maybe because they're still doing supervisor approvals, they haven't finalized that list yet, but
Certainly that'd be part of their transparency, right?
Yeah, it would have to be.
yeah, maybe when it's all said and done, they'll release that list, but yeah, I know that they've been doing them at least at the last 2 meetings, they've approved block grants. So.
Okay, anything else on 18? Okay, item 19, and I have the old wrong one that wasn't sorry, guys.
Okay, you need to bring yours next time. For the next set, for the, next
Barely
meeting.
made it here tonight.
I know, so let's
May?
table it till May, but on May, we're going to do it. And if you don't have it, we're just gonna go
We'll do
through
it
what we
anyway.
have.
Yeah, but are you, well, we went through some of this, right? Or do we wanna try to?
No, I
My
don't,
memory?
I don't think so, no.
It's already 8:40.
So I make a motion that we table this until May and that we will do it in May.
Well, we're not
Whether,
gonna finish it all in May. I can tell
Well,
you that. It's long.
well,
That's, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay.
well, I put a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Roll call director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
I,
and Director Schoenberg is a aye for that, so that's 500. That's tabled until the regular meeting in May. Item 20, discussion vote on mainline extension policy.
Did I send you the updated price list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we.
Yeah, I included it.
is that what this bond?
Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
I was hoping I had.
Do we have comments, discussion?
Well, I think, and this second page, is that the new prices?
Yeah,
No,
the second page is what Curtis updated the prices.
not,
Oh, well,
no,
yeah,
the-
we've got
The
no,
second page is the
Oh, I'm sorry.
2007.
yeah.
so the one that says bond estimated sheet,
What it meant is, what
January 24.
what will be the second page, not the old one.
okay.
Which is
So,
the third page.
so I think we should, since we're not gonna make any changes to the front. I mean, because this is something that has to be looked at by you and Curtis, the actual.
Yeah, the prices are the prices, whatever. So,
Right,
yeah.
so I think we should just approve the new pricing
I agree with
for
you,
this. And that, because if he's gonna change any of the,
Curtis will not change any of the front page. That's not really in his ballpark.
That would be
Right.
something we'd have to ask the attorney.
And
about.
pay the money to have it done, and this one suffices. So right now, it's
Okay.
just budget money.
so I make a motion that we approve the new, bond estimate rate sheet, dated, 1/24/24.
And update the mainline extension
And
policy.
to update the mainline extension policy and delete the, old one that was 2/14/2007.
And
I'll
you have to
second that.
update the front, the date.
The date on the front page.
And
Yeah.
update the date on the front page.
I'll second that with a friendly amendment.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
I,
Director Schoenberg is an aye, that passes 500. And, we didn't do the recess because we're almost at a time where we'll have to extend the meeting. So,
But we should, thank Dee.
Oh, thank you, Dee.
thank you. You
Thank
have a
you.
good
Thank you,
night.
Dee.
Take the rest of the night off, Dee.
Thanks, y'all.
yeah,
I'll do that. You guys have a good evening.
okay, item 21, new business, review and approve meeting minutes for 3/12/2024 AP Standing Committee, 3/14/2024 regular meeting, 3/26/2024 special meeting, 3/26/2024 AP Standing Committee, 3/28/2024 regular state planning and project meeting.
Good job.
I make a motion that we approve all the dates, for the different, minutes that Lisa has stated. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, and as well as any additional amendments due to typos or other errors that may not have been caught or may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
I,
Director Schoenberg is an aye. That motion passes. The minutes are the following: 3/12/2024, 3/14/2024, 3/26/2024, two different sets. 3/28/2024 are approved 500.
Who was the second?
The second was Garcia.
Did we? Did we say aye?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we did.
I guess.
You did too.
You
You
said.
were with us.
aye.
You were with us.
Do you not want to approve them?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
I made the motion.
Yes, I'm just trying to rush
getting
us so
close
we
to
don't,
9
so we
o'clock.
don't have to
Switching
make
now.
another motion. Okay, so item 22, discussion vote on future agenda items. Are there future agenda items that need to be discussed this evening? No, okay, so, item 23, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion seconder. Anyone, not happy with that? Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that, motion passes. The meeting is adjourned at 8:48.
Yes.
And that passes 5-0-0.
Thank you, ladies
Thank
and
you,
gentlemen.
everybody. See you, soon, on the 25th.
There's a